Hello friends, happy Friday. I hope you're all doing great. I just wanted to come on here for a little bit to talk about personal power. This is something that I feel like we can all have a little help with right now, and let's process this together if possible. So this is something that is not just for people who desire self-help and improvement, like entrepreneurs like me. Self-empowerment is also not just for people who have been abused, although I would say that it kind of feels like we are in that state right now, socially, politically, and that we need to be powering up. So what is personal power? It's not something that we force or wield over others, so it's not violent at all, and it's something innate in each of us. And we might talk about building up power or getting your power, but the power is always there. It's very energetic in us, so the third chakra is considered our energy center for personal power and will. And so when we are having issues with embracing our personal power, what it is that we have given it away in a sense to where we're giving more power, more authority to others. And so we're not seeing what we have inside. So it's there, we're just not valuing it. We're valuing other people before us. For some reason. And again, this is a giving away of our power. So when we're talking about getting it back, we are really talking about breaking those bonds that are making us dependent. So of course, dependency is not healthy as an adult. This is a way that we need to fully grow up and take responsibility. So let's talk about the ways that you might fall under this illusion of being safe and dependent on others and not having power. And again, this is something we all experience. And I'll give you a couple examples as to how I have been low in my power lately and why I'm feeling I need to be sharing more from this space for you so we could all be brave together. So I made a little list. I made a couple of lists that will help us here. So we need this power to establish healthy boundaries and to make authentic connections. And it's hard to see that. It's hard to see when it's healthy and when we are empowered. We do get some glimpses and some sensations sometimes of, oh, wow, that was really strong, and wow, I'm really courageous. But oftentimes we notice more when we are lacking it. And this is true with many aspects of the self that we try to see. It's hard to see from this positive perspective. And so this negative feedback is really useful. So try not to feel bad as we're reading this list. Again, I fall into these categories some of the time, and it's a process to move away from it. So we'll talk about that too. So here are some ways that we might be caught up. You might be always deferring to experts to guide you in what you think, say, and do. So you're not feeling confident in what you know. You feel like someone who is smarter than you or has more experience is better than you to a large extent, and that maybe your opinion doesn't matter because of that. You might be afraid because of this to share information with people because you might be judged or criticized for your experience. Maybe you're avoiding new things because you're afraid of looking out of place, about looking new. Maybe you need to always be an expert in things. So perfectionism is usually also a sign that you're not really standing in your power. You might be dissatisfied with the way that your life is unfolding in the moment. Maybe, perhaps, you are holding beliefs that, or you're afraid to share your beliefs that are outside of the norm. So outside of your political party. You might be judged for that, right? Of being on the other side, and that's horrible. Or maybe it's at work, feeling out of place at work, or in other settings. So usually this is in a group setting where you may be feeling that you're out of place and sticking out, that there's a lot of fear around that. Maybe you're always looking for approval from others to the degree that you're pretending that you agree with everyone else. So overall, that's not healthy, right? That we're not being our authentic self. And especially as a parent, modeling that for your kids, they can see through that, believe me. Maybe you allow people to talk down to you, who, again, you feel are smarter, have more experience and authority. Perhaps you're complaining about that. So you're allowing it to happen and then complaining with a victim mentality, like you can't believe this is always happening to you, and yet you let it happen to you often. Perhaps you're having a hard time accepting someone else's success or free ways of being. And I'll stop here and tell you a story. I've heard this so many times, so I don't know if you have heard this as well. Maybe it's just something that entrepreneurs hear because we talk about self-power and personal power quite a bit. But there is this crab in a bucket mentality that people get stuck in. So there is this phenomenon that when fishermen put crabs in a bucket, when they are fishing and collecting them, there may be one crab who is like, what the heck, I'm getting out of here, and starts to climb out of the bucket. Another crab will pull it back down. And if that crab gets the idea to go again out of the bucket, the whole gang will bring that crab down. So what is happening here? Of course, we're not in the mind of a crab, but we do see this behavior in other people, that sometimes we, so maybe me too, we are uncomfortable seeing how other people are growing and being in their power. They're acting free. They're going against the grain. So that may make you uncomfortable, or you may think they're going to get me and everyone else in trouble. But that is still focusing on the other person and not reflecting on how you're feeling. And there is this safety in numbers, right? They feel safer when everyone is with them in this bucket, perhaps. Not knowing that if you get outside, everyone can be free. So that is that crab in a bucket mentality. If you don't know that, it's very useful for life. And then you might be, this is related to this, projecting shame and blame on other people as you judge their choices. So there are certainly more examples of this. And anytime we're focusing on other people, fixated on their issues, we are not fully in our power. So just think about that. See if there's something you're doing there that that you can relate to. So how do you get this power back? Again, it's not something that we bring back in. It's more of a revelation. So it's already here. It's being revealed as you disconnect from those things that are binding you. So no longer being under the influence of other people's ideas. You can still value them. You could still align with them, but they're not yours. You still have your own ideas and power, and that is what you're living from. So here is a quick list, tips of how you can power up, how you can bring your power up to the surface. So know what you value. There are certain things that I stand for no matter what. Medical freedom is one of them. So that's why my voice is getting louder. You might see if you are personal friends with me on Facebook or anywhere else. This is something that I stand for pretty strongly. Autonomy, sovereignty. Focus on what you can control. So not focusing on the things that are outside, which can feel very disempowering. So there are usually things that you can still control, and it may be uncomfortable. Again, you might need to stick your neck out a bit as you're thinking and being out of this social box. But you can control that. Stop hanging out with people who make you feel bad. So I'm going to pause here in this list and tell you a quick story. I put up a post on my personal Facebook page a couple days ago, and I won't go into the details about that, but it had to do with COVID. It ruffled some feathers. Oh, because this was actually on Inauguration Day. So I have a feeling, no one said it, but I had a feeling that some people felt like maybe I was ruining the whole day, but it was a very important post. And I usually post to help people think about things. And usually it's from this place of empowerment that I'm trying to help my friends. And still, it would be egoic of me to think that I have control over them, and I absolutely don't. But I have experienced so much growth in my life that I like sharing that with people. And so when I see things that are very off, even things that are popular and just not okay, I will say something. So anyway, there was one friend, this woman who I met at a conference a few years ago. We became Facebook friends, but I don't really know her. And she only comes on my page when she's disagreeing about something. And it was all fine. I love it. In fact, in the post, I was saying, let me know how you feel. Put your opinions down below. I love free speech. I like having a conversation. And so we were trying to have a civil one. And then she started calling people names and just making me feel like I should feel bad for my stance, which I don't at all. And I left those comments there because I'm like, whatever, she disagrees. People should see this. Maybe people align with her, whatever. And so that first night she said, oh, I'm done with all of you. And then she came on the next day and started commenting again. And then she said, oh, well, I want to talk to you more about this. We can have a civil conversation. And something else, remarkably, life gives you situations in parallel sometimes. So as I was looking at this post from her going, okay, she was just crapping all over my Facebook wall, and now she wants to have a civil conversation, being annoyed with that. And at the same time, I was having this fight with my son over a video game. And he was calling me names because I wasn't playing this video game. It was not, he was tired and cranky. And I was cranky, obviously, from engaging on social media, which is not healthy either. But he started calling me names, and I was just taking it because I was like, I don't want to, get in a fight and he'll get over this. And, but it wasn't going anywhere, and it was making me feel bad. I was starting to feel like a victim. And then I'm like, what the heck? Why am I letting my child talk to me like this? And why am I letting this woman talk to me like this? And I did end up unfriending this woman around this time because I'm like, I need to break this. This is occupying too much of my time and keeping me in this negative space. My desire to have free speech is, and having everyone have this stage that I'm creating is not healthy when they are calling me names. That is not healthy. So I stood in my power and I was like, she doesn't like me. So I'm just going to remove her from this social media experience. And I had a talk with my son. I just told him, I'm not going to let you talk to me like that. And of course, there's nothing I can do to him. I just walked away. And we had some space. We took some deep breaths. It was less than 20 minutes, and he was back, and we both apologized. So, life in parallel. So yeah, stand up for yourself. Stop hanging out or walk away if you have this experience that is disempowering. Hang out with powerful people. People who remind you of how powerful you are. Stand up for yourself. Speak your truth. And again, this is a process. This isn't something you can just see and change like that. But doing mirror work, so talking to yourself in the mirror, journaling, so writing down these experiences. I want to remember these forever so I can go back and remember how I moved beyond it, how I learned from it, and how I shared this with others, right? And then yoga and meditation can help tremendously. So meditation, of course, is going to help you be mindful of when these situations arise that bring you out of your power, or so you can see clearly when you have given your power away. And then yoga, working with the energetics of your center, so building up Manipura, this energy center, will help you manifest this physically. So you need to be mentally and emotionally strong first before you start to have this courage to act this way in your life. So again, really helpful. And next week, or actually, okay, this is Friday. Yes, so next week, next Thursday is the full moon. And I am now offering lunar yoga classes at 4 o'clock Pacific time on the full and new moon. So next Thursday, and that is January 28th, and this is 2021, you're watching this in, I am doing a class that is focused on personal power. So if this is something that is interesting to you, come to the class and we will break it down. So not just through movement and meditation, but we'll also be journaling, and I'll bring in a ritual that will help us break these bonds of dependency to help us feel stronger in our lives. So I hope you will join me then. And if this gave you any insight as to how you can be standing in your power more strongly, let me know in the comments. And I hope to talk to you soon, friends. Stay strong.